The first two times I did ayahuasca were with tribes that have already been evangelized by missionaries. The ayahuasca was prepared in an aluminum pot, and I was not prepared very well. I got sick, I threw up, and it was very chaotic, but it was a mind altering experience to say the least. A couple years later, I was in Venezuela, and my friend Nelson, whose father had built the first cattle ranch in the Amazonas in Venezuela and spoke fluent Piaroa, took me to the Piaroa. When we arrived at the ranch, a group of completely naked Piaroa came down from the mountains. Nelson was amazed. He hadn't seen Piaroa like this since he was a small boy. They too had been culturated, and I was reluctant to go out there to try ayahuasca because I felt I would have a similar experience. But what happened was they came to us and they told Nelson that they had come 3 days specially to see me. And they took me back in the mountains with them for 3 days. We traveled through the jungle. When we got to their village, they didn't allow me to eat the food they ate. They prepared special food for me, and they rubbed me with different leaves. They gave me kind of rub baths with leaves, preparing me for the ceremony. In this time, which took 2-3 weeks, again, all the children, the ladies, the men, everybody showed me every insect, every plant in the area, and they showed it to me and tried to explain to me what it was about, although I didn't speak Piaroa at the time, so I had no idea really what they were talking about, but I picked up some stuff. And it came the time for me to take ayahuasca in the Piaroa fashion, which is very different than other tribes. So we went out to a small glen outside the village, just 3 other people and myself. And how I took the ayahuasca first was in a yopo snuff, which I snorted through the legs of a blue heron water bird. And that snuff had not only varola in it, but it also had ayahuasca and boa leaf in it. And it was very strong, and I felt the effects very rapidly. At the same time, they made a ball with leaves of the boa with ayahuasca in it and soaked that I put in the side of my mouth and I chewed and sucked on, which made the effects of the snuff last much longer. And I had an incredible experience. The incredible part was that although I had seen all these vegetables and plants and animals, I had no idea how they fit together in any world. But the ayahuasca brought them all together. Even though I didn't understand Piaroa, it brought them together in a way that I understood. There was a synchronicity, there was a bond between all these things that I was being allowed to see. And I didn't get sick. In fact, in the days after that, I really got accustomed to living in the jungle in a way I really hadn't done before. But Dishitu, the sacred mushroom, was already my familiar. It was the plant I'd already spent many years with. So I said, okay, ayahuasca is very interesting, but it's not the plant for me. But over the years, I realized that to get the respect and confidence of the tribes, if you did not commune with their ancestors, they would never trust you. And the way to commune with their ancestors was by taking their sacrament of their tribe. And many times it was ayahuasca or yopo snuffs or other snuffs. It was frog backs at one time. But it was the specific plant that tribe saw themselves from. And from that experience, I realized that there was an intricacy that tied everything together. And so when I learned about ayahuasca, I learned about it as something that brings the whole jungle together. That if you just take it by itself, as I did those first 2 times, there was nothing to bring together because I had no knowledge of that region really. But now that I had a little knowledge, I saw that it built that and brought it together, and thus began my path of taking sacraments with different tribes to win their trust and going deeper into the forest and more remote tribes, to the point where I finally got the rare presidential permission to work and live among the last uncontacted tribes on earth. Ninashkatak Chili, the gods give to those who give to the gods.